Isn't it crazy that just 25 years after the terrorist attack in New York City on 9/11, perpetrated by Muslim terrorists, the voters of New York City can elect a Muslim mayor?
Allahu Akbar. Want to make some of that?
So a moment where you're asking yourself how you can reconnect to who growing up with, being taught that
منورين والله والله.
A Muslim mayor who makes speeches that sound like this.
And I consider my own faith, Islam, a religion built upon a narrative of migration. The story of the Hijrah reminds us that Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was a stranger too, who fled Mecca and was welcomed in Medina. Surah An-Nahl 1642 tells us, "As for those who immigrated in the cause of Allah after being persecuted, we will surely bless them with a good home in this world."
There's been a lot of talk about Islam lately, everything from the rising Muslim population in Europe, in certain countries such as England, France, and Germany, recent terrorist attacks in New York, and now the war with Iran. We have been doing a series on eschatology, which we will return to. However, I thought it was appropriate to do a few videos on the topic of Islam given current world events and that we are now in the month of Ramadan. The issue I want to talk about in this first video is the rising Muslim population that we see going on in Europe right now. Many commentators have noted the rising Muslim population in Europe, especially in certain countries like England, France, and Germany. And I want to give a couple reasons as to why I think this is the case. The first reason is immigration. Those countries in Europe which are experiencing the most problems with Muslim immigrants are those countries which have also allowed massive immigration into their country. Obviously, those countries which have allowed more Muslim immigrants into their country will experience a higher Muslim population, and this in turn will change certain aspects of culture and society. The second reason has to do with the secularization of Europe and the dropping birth rate. As Europe has become more secularized beginning in this last century, this has created a religious vacuum in Europe that has been readily filled by Muslim immigrants. Religious families, as a general rule and principle, have more children than their secular counterparts. Christians, Muslims, Mormons tend to have more children than secular families. So as Europe has become more secularized and more Muslim immigrants have come, Muslims are now outproducing secular Europeans. And so it's easy to see and project into the future how the Muslim population in Europe will continue to rise as they are outproducing the secular Europeans. Now, some commentators have even speculated that this same phenomena could occur in America as well. As America has become more secularized, our birth rate has dropped as well. The average birth rate in America right now per family is 1.6 children, which means that we are not even producing enough children to replace ourselves. That means that America is technically a dying nation. The only thing that is causing our population to rise here in America is immigration. In order to understand one of the reasons this is important and how it is connected to the early origin of Islam, I want to give a short, quick history of Islam itself. According to Muslim sources, Muhammad was born in the year 570 AD. In the year 610, at the age of 40, Muhammad claimed that he was visited by the angel Gabriel, who began giving him revelations. These revelations were later collected and now form what we know of as the Quran. Now, the early history of Islam is really a tale of two cities, except unlike the Charles Dickens novel, we are not talking about London and Paris. In the early history of Islam, the two cities are Mecca and Medina. Now, from 610 to 622, Muhammad was in the city of Mecca. From 622 to 632, Muhammad and other Muslims were in the city of Medina. Now, during his life, Muhammad engaged in various wars and raids. After Muhammad's death, Muslims continued to engage in numerous wars from the years 632 to 732 AD. The first 100 years of this religion's existence was filled with warfare. Muslims eventually conquered the entire Middle East. moved across North Africa and then up into Europe, conquering Spain and all the way into France, until they were eventually defeated in 732 AD at the Battle of Tours by Charles Martel. Now, some historians speculate that if the Muslim invasion was not stopped in 732, that Europe would look very different today. But ironically, what Muslims failed to do back in the 8th century, as far as conquering Europe, they are accomplishing today, but not through traditional jihad, but simply through immigration and outproducing their secular counterparts. Raymond Ibrahim, who is an excellent source when it comes to the topic of Islam, has even noted how Muslims have encouraged Muslim women to engage in a baby jihad by having as many babies as possible and increasing the Muslim population. If you haven't read any of Raymond's books, you want to check those out. Only time will tell how the demographics of Europe and America continue to change. But if you're interested in reading more on this topic, check out this book by Douglas Murray, The Strange Death of Europe.